About 15 years ago, we had an interesting story in town. We had a lot of horned lizards that needed to be relocated for a construction or remodeling project at home. And the people who came, the Horned Lizard Conservation Society, were very impressed with the great numbers of horned lizards that they found in that area.
To explore what's happened to the horned lizard in the last several decades, we decided to go to the horned lizard capital of the world, Kennedy, Texas. 65 million years ago, a 6-mile wide asteroid slammed into the Earth in a shallow sea where the Yucatan Peninsula sits today. The impact killed off 70% of life on Earth. The hardy survivors included smaller reptiles, newly emerged mammals, and small insects. 35 million years later, one of the reptiles' descendants was this little fellow. You may know him as the horned toad or the horned frog, but his proper name is horned lizard. Reports of well over 100 of the lizards being captured and relocated from a single construction site inside the small Karnes County community inspired the Texas state legislature to declare Kennedy as the state horned frog capital back in 2001. And Kennedy is where we find Dr. Wade Phelps. Dr. Phelps is a dentist in Kennedy. When he is not working, he spends his time educating area residents about the lizard and how to preserve them. As a member of the Texas State Horned Lizard Preservation Society, yes, you heard that right, there is actually a Horned Lizard Preservation Society. Dr. Phelps tells us more about it.
They're just people that have an interest, a special interest in horned lizards.
The motivation for the formation of this society, Phelps says, involves one simple question.
Gee whiz, where did they go?
Thankfully, the horned lizard is not totally extinct, at least not yet, but their numbers are on the decline. Dr. Phelps notices a major issue the lizard has been facing.
The biggest problem is habitat.
And habitat is something that Phelps and others interested in preserving these creatures are still struggling to understand. Today, the horned lizard is forced to share its habitat with one creature that does them the most harm: man. People always have had a natural curiosity for these creatures. Now add man's encroachment into the horned lizard's habitat with infrastructure and agriculture, and the lizard now seems doomed.
Chemicals always enter into that picture with habitat and environment. People like to pick up horned lizards.
Phelps tells us that over the last several years, research has increased on horned lizards to get a better understanding of them and how to preserve them.
A group of scientists from TCU have been studying DNA of these horned lizards.
One of the interesting things that researchers have discovered is that the lizard has the ability to adapt to certain specific environments.
In an urbanized area, horned lizards will concentrate into certain areas.
While this sounds promising that the lizard can adapt to an ever-increasing urbanization of their habitat, research has shown that they are still limited by some issues.
And they won't cross a major roadway.
Dr. Phelps says that if you happen to see a horned lizard, the best thing you can do to preserve their habitat is to treat them with kindness and respect. Now, something to think about. Before there was United States, before there was Mexico, before there were even Native Americans here, hey, even before there was a North America, there were horned lizards. Horned lizards ruled this place for 30 million years, and now, because of the indifference of modern man, we're seeing his numbers decline. But not all humans have been that way. The Native Americans revered all life, including the horned lizards, even remembered him in artwork. But there's a larger issue. Are we not just doing the same thing to a number of other species? We're looking at the extinction level events of a variety of different animals out there, including the horned lizard, the gray wolf, the bald eagle, and the polar bear. Are we next on our own list? We need to watch that very carefully. For your hometown news, I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Alexander.